Hi, thanks for joining us. My name is Rob Hill. I work for Catalyst. I've been working with Christina and the Mahara team on looking at a UX review for Mahara. Since around January, February time, we've been interviewing people around the world, Mahara users, around their experiences with Mahara UX. And what we've done is we've produced a direction for a Mahara, the UX of Mahara going forwards based on the feedback. Before I jump into showing you those wireframes, I just thought I'd go through really what wireframes are for those that don't know. Um, so the purpose of wireframes is to guide what the product should look like and the functionality and how it should work. It's not designed to look, let's say, pretty. We have designers that work on that. That's the following stage. They're about to they're supposed to establish a basic design structure of the pages before we actually engage with the visual design team. Um, they are images, so there's no development work that's gone on there. What we use a program called Figma that kind of pretends that they're a working application. You press a button and it will open another page, but again, they're all images. And I mean, the purpose of the wireframes is to make sure that functionally the system works and hangs together correctly, and we can get feedback before any of the development and then any of the visual design takes place. So with that in mind, I'll jump into the wireframing. So this is the dashboard, the front page of Mahara, and you can see that it looks a bit different. One of the things we've tried to do with this update is to look at refreshing and updating the navigation of Mahara into something a little bit more modern. So hence the left-hand side navigation. What we also try to do is kind of standardize the use. So if you go to one page and you know how it uses, how it works, then if you go to another page, you'll know how that works as well. Um, with the dashboard itself, it's pretty basic at the moment, but the idea is what we're trying to do is present the core information that a particular user wants to see. There is some configurability where a user can change some of the content within the dashboard, but what we're going to try and do is actually make it a more standardized approach with the administrators being able to uh, place pertinent information on the front page. Also, the idea is that dashboards are really designed for the different types of user groups as well. So there'll be a dashboard for an admin, there'll be a dashboard for a teacher or an instructor, there'll be a dashboard for a student showing them the pertinent information for their particular role. If we jump into portfolios, which is obviously the core area of Mahara, you can see that the way that the portfolios are presented within the system now is within a table. This table, like most tables, it can be sorted by clicking on a column heading and can be searched using the standard functionality of Mahara. You can see that one of the key things there is the ability to edit collections and pages, but the other actions are dependent on your relationship with the collection. You can see here's an example that you can configure, share, and manage the pages and delete as well from there. You can copy, but you can also create. We're aware that we get a lot of new users a lot of the time because we got new starters in New Year's and new platforms and courses. So what we wanted to do is have the ability to guide the user when they're actually creating content. This idea is that it's also configurable because there may your sites may not use CPDs, or you may use other types of content. So what can be placed here is the idea is configurable. If we go into a portfolio, you can see the left-hand side has changed. The navigation has changed. You can return to portfolios, the breadcrumbs back to that previous page, but you've got the navigation through the collection on the left-hand side, so it's been removed from the top of the from the page, which makes it a better a better experience. You can see all the the pages within the collection, and that will scroll if it goes beyond that too. We haven't removed any of the functionality really of the right hand side. The way that the functions work there stays the same, but what we've done, we try to tidy that up. So there was this quick action function which did quite a number of different things based on your relationship with the portfolio. It confused a few users, or more than a few users. So what we've done, we've separated that function out. So you've still got the standard edit, which we'll talk about in a minute, but you've got this idea of inline editing now. So clicking on that will allow you to open a section. What we try to do again is move away from the word block, because that's quite an old-fashioned developer word. So now we're using the word section. So if you hear me say section, it's the old block. But you can see there that clicking on that section allows the user to do the inline editing. And obviously this is presented in a different way. We'll cover that more in a minute as well. But also there's the idea that now comments have been separated from that as well. So you can click into comments, and then again, clicking on a section will then open that section detail, allowing you to see comments, add your own comments, and also attach files. You've got if the pictures also work the same way as well. You can see the image detail within that pull out. If we go into the edit, so you can see here that the right hand side has been tidied up a bit. What we try to do here is actually display the most common section types that users use. I mean, when I was talking to the users, that's normally text, image, PDF, and external media link. But the idea is this could be configured based on your site's preference. I know CPD was one of the things that was mentioned, but certainly what you want to do is actually, these are the most common section types that get used, so they're the ones that are there available to the user to be pulled out from. If we click on the add button, you can see here that we've tidied up these particular sections. We've got the idea of common sections, and again, this can be configured based on how your sites use those sections, but you've got the specialized sections in here as well. If we start looking at the detail, you can see that again we've tidied up the content within those just to make them a little bit more modern. And the other thing we try to do is also standardize and actually merge some of those section types together. The image being an example of this. Currently there are two images. There's like image and multi-image, but what we wanted to do is have a look at actually the user's actions within the selection, actually defining the function of the behavior of the section. So for instance, you can see here there's no, we've expanded the amount of real estate on the page that these pullouts have, because nothing really changes on the page behind until you've saved anyway. And we thought, well, this way we can actually give you a better experience, the user a better experience. Like for instance, we're using checkboxes now for users to be able to select the images they want. And they said if they actually selecting more than one image, then this multi-image presentation functionality will kick in to say, actually, I want to show it as thumbnails or a slideshow. And you know, you can still upload files as you previously could as well. Looking at PDFs, that's the same kind of function with the PDFs that you've saved within your instance. You have radio buttons here because you're selecting one of those PDFs, and then that will be shown on the page. And again, you can upload as before. One of the things I want to show you is probably another example of merging those section types together. Journal is a key one. Currently there's like 4 different journal sections, and what we've done here is combine them together. So for instance, in this example, you can see that there are 3 journals to display. A user can select the ones that they want to show on the page, and they can say show all entries or show specific entries. If they show specific entries, then they can see a list of all the entries to display, and then they can actually find the ones, and again use the checkboxes to select the ones they want to select. So again, reiterating, it's the actions of the user that defines the behavior of that section on the page, not for them to have to decide beforehand which which section they need. So yeah, so that's where we're going. There's a few more, there's more rationalizations that we can do with those section types, and that will come as part of the development process. If we go back to view, and you can see that again, navigation here allows you to go back to view to see the page once you've done the changes. We can look at styles. Now, styles is like a replacement for the idea of skins. Skins were a bit problematic. Some people completely ignored them. Some people found them difficult to use, and some of the output that was being produced wasn't particularly readable and not very accessible. So what we've tried to do is go down the route of, say, like Google Sites and Squarespace and all of those ones, where we can curate styles, page styles for users to use, and then they can select those styles and apply those styles across the entire page. The styles that can be chosen, I mean, the Mahara team can create a bunch of like template styles, but there's nothing stopping from sites and administrators creating their own styles. But users can also create their own styles as well, but creating the styles now will be a little bit more guided to ensure that the output is readable and accessible as much as it can be. So like the behavior is, they can select a style, they can preview that style to see how it looks on the page, and again, if they don't like it, they can always return, select another style, but if they liked it, they can accept it. Okay, so that's the idea around the styles. If we return to portfolios, we can see some of the other pages, and again, what you should be able to see now is that the repetition of the layout of the page to make sure that users, if they can use one page, they can use another page. This one is the shared portfolio, so all the portfolios that the user has shared, and the information around those, they can go straight to those portfolios, and they can see who they've shared it with. You can also see that you can see the portfolios that has been shared with the user as well. Okay, and so that information is then provided. They can always get back there. Again, it's always this breadcrumb allowing that user to be able to get back to where they've gone before. If we look at groups again are presenting in a table, and the actions are dependent on the relationship those users have with that particular group. So for instance, this one here, that person hasn't joined the group, so the user will be able to join it. This one here, the user's already joined, so they can change the label to leave the group. And then this one here is that they've created their own group, and so they can change the label to the settings and delete the group if required. And this is where you can create more groups as well. So again, there's the search. If you're in a lot of groups, you'll be able to search and find and filter through the list that you've got. Then you've got the tabs, all the tags that you've used. And again, if you click on the tag, you can see where the tag, which asset the tag has been used on which pages. You can edit and delete the tag, and you can get back to the tags before to actually look at other tags if you need to breadcrumb back. There's the idea of profile pages. Again, this one could use a little bit of finessing, but the idea is that, again, profile pages are a standard fare on websites, and what we want to do is present the best kind of profile page for that user. So instead of having the user create a new profile page, it's more like configure the content within that page and present the best idea of what a profile page can look at. So that's the idea of the profile page. Then we've got this section down here. So this is the where users can define the section content that they can use within their portfolios. Again, it's files, so they can create new folders, they can download new files, they can upload files, and they can see all the content within each that they've uploaded and downloaded as well. They can edit, delete as well. You've got journals. Journals work the same way. Again, you can create new journals, you can create new entries within the journals as well. You can edit. Again, the actions are dependent on the state of the journal. If it's unpublished, it can be published, and if it's published, it can be unpublished. Then you've got notes. Notes again, you can see the note title, you can see where it's been used, and if there's been any attachments, you can create new notes and edit and delete notes from this page. Plans, you can see the plans that have been created. You can create new plans, edit existing and delete existing plans. If you go into the plans, you can see the tasks associated with those plans, and they can be completed, or you can edit the details and delete them, create new tasks, and again breadcrumb back to the plans page, main page. And then there's CPDs if used. The idea of creating new activities, adding hours, getting a total number of hours up here, editing and deleting CPD activities. And then you've got people, so being able to engage with people, and so here you'd see a list of the people. You can see the roles with where those people are associated with. If you have the power to masquerade, that will be there. You've got the ability to send message, add and remove contacts dependent on the state of your relationship with those particular contacts. So that's like a whistle-stop tour around where we're thinking. Again, we're right at the start of this process. I know that in the coming months, Christine will share more information about where this is going and how this can be rolled out into the current system. So, if you've got any questions, then yeah, get hold of the Mahara team as usual. But thank you very much for watching. Cheers.